Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of the Variety Gaming Podcast. It's been a while. Stain would say a couple months, in fact, since we recorded and released the Season 2 finale. A lot of life in gaming has gone on in the meantime, but we are now back to chat about gaming facts, strats, farming mats, competitive stats, and all that crap. But first, Rayu, my co-host with a beard that looks like a freshly harvested wheat field. We have some adjustments to the show a little bit. Why don't you tell the people about them?
Absolutely. As you can see, we are showing our faces for the first time. So
Hello.
you all get to see our freshly rolled out of bed, greasy, up all night gaming selves. I promise you, we are in the planning process of getting an actual office with, a full production crew and all the works to make it look more professional. I'm kidding, of course.
Like
No.
and subscribe.
I'm kidding, of course, but no. So the changes, Atrax, you and I talked about it for a while. We missed recording, we missed doing the show, and just being able to talk freely about the games that we do play. And we've actually had some great feedback from the audience that some of the games we have talked about, they've never heard of, they've never tried, they've never played, or they were hesitant on. And they actually tried it because of the show. So that's something that we do miss, is bringing games to people from genres or developers you never would have thought of. One of the big changes are we are no longer going to be doing a featured game. We are going to be shifting to more of a show and tell type of format. So what we're going to do is each of us is going to bring a game or multiple games to the show for us to tell you guys about. These could be old classics that we decided to revisit. These could be new AAA titles that have been released that we've been waiting for. If we happen to have the same game in our planning stages, then we'll probably do it as a featured game. But the show is not going to be centered around one game. Of course, as I mentioned, unless we have that one in common. Or we get a key or something like that. But what this will allow us to do is just, stay true to our roots as variety gamers. We do play a variety of things, and it's very hard if one game has your attention and your focus, and another game that you said, hey, we're going to feature this game, it doesn't really necessarily live up to the hype or make it as enjoyable, and you'd rather just spend your time playing that other game. So we're just going to be doing that from now on. We are also going to be shifting away from the game of the season, and we're going to be shifting it into the genre of the season. This is one that I'm actually really excited about because this will allow us to explore a variety of games in the genre we selected for that season. So what that entails is, if we decide, we're going to do ARPGs for this season. Well, there are a lot of action RPG games out there. If one is more interesting to me than it is to Atrax, and Atrax finds something else, that'll just allow us to keep it within the scope of what we're trying to talk about. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to because there are a lot of games that we might want to try. Lastly, we're also going to be dialing back our upload schedule and start releasing every 2 weeks instead of every week. This is going to allow myself and Atrax more time to, one, focus on the content and the games that we are playing so we can provide a more quality review or cover the game in more detail, as well as, of course, spend more time with our families. We are working folks, so we work, we come home, we have families, we do things. Unfortunately, time constraints prevent us from being able to upload it every single week. But that's okay. We're still going to be here. We're still going to talk about gaming, and we're glad that for everyone that's hung around for the duration of it so far.
Yeah, we talked a lot in the short break about what to do because, like Rayu said, we're just pretty busy like most folks are in life. And we enjoy creating content, but especially for me, it got to a point where I couldn't keep up with how we were doing the show. And so I love covering games in general. We are the Variety Gaming Podcast, but then it's like, okay, we'll commit to playing this game, and this game for the next 4 weeks. And we have 4 different games to cover. It just ended up being too much, and then gaming wasn't nearly as enjoyable, which affects the show too. So this allows us to kind of play what we would like to, what's current for us. And of course, then it's usually current for all of you too. And will be bouncing all over the place. So plenty of variety gaming content. And because it's every 2 weeks, the quality should go up a little bit too, hopefully.
That is the hope. No promises. It's all hopes
We're doing
and
our
prayers.
best, all right? We promise. Look, we're trying to make these changes for all of you. Hopefully you enjoy it. And you know what, Ray? Why don't you go first? What games have you been playing in the off time? It's been a while.
It has been a while, but gaming didn't stop. So for me, oh man, I dove into the gaming for a good little bit. I have branched back into Last Epoch, another fun action RPG. If you're not familiar with the style of play or genre of that, think of like Path of Exiles or Diablo. Very similar, but a lot of fun to play. I dove back into that, made a new character for the season, went through and have leveled it and am gearing it, and it's just been a blast. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, got that on sale. I was so excited to see that it dropped, and started playing that with my good buddy Zebra. And oh man, that was a blast to go through and play the game. I only enjoyed the campaign. I didn't go so far as into the multiplayer or anything, but that is a fun game. Great storyline. I wish I was into the 40K series earlier in the story, but it is a lot of fun. Marvel Rivals, to get my competitive game in there. Marvel Rivals is something that a lot of friends have been playing on and off since the game has been out, as a counterpart to the Overwatch craze. It's been a lot of fun. I like some of the heroes and costumes and things like that they've brought into the game, but like with everything, unfortunately, the community has a tendency of taking the fun out of the game and making it a very toxic environment. And that's kind of what you've seen. I don't know if you folks have seen the either TikToks or Reddits or YouTube videos or Twitch streams that have been covering the game, but there was a support character strike. People were actively not choosing to play supports because of, one, the community, and two, because of the developers. In the competitive atmosphere, there wasn't an equal distribution of progress and no progress when you're playing a support type of character, whether that be a healer or a tank. All of it went to the DPS characters. So thankfully they have patched it, but that is kind of some of the drama that happened there. Smite 2, always near and dear to my heart. I know, Atrax, how you feel about your Smite and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna just interject really quickly here. League of Legends has a Smite mode now, the arena mode. Yeah, where it's just like two waves of minions that run into each other and jump into a portal, and you're just brawling for points. So there's no reason to play Smite.
No, there is. There still is.
No.
But I just want to say, Smite got something that the people wanted, and it took League of Legends all this time to finally put it in. So just saying.
Well, it's a rotating game mode, too. It won't even be there for very long.
That's even worse. Nope.
I mean,
you just drove me right back into Smite with that one.
Yeah. That's okay.
Anyway, so, been playing Smite 2 on and off. They've had a couple of events, a couple of Twitch drops that have come from the game. It's been a lot of fun and a good time playing with friends and just trying to overall help newer players try and get better at the game. Of course, being it's a competitive game, it's always fun to help new people get better at it. But that one, Monster Hunter Wilds, that completely beat the story on that game. Got the gear. That is a fantastic game. Again, it's going to be one of those you're going to want friends with. It is a lot of fun. I took the Lance as the tank role, and I'm not going to lie, it is really cool. If you have a shield in that game, you get specific animations from some of the monster attacks. And there's like one of them where it's like they're breathing fire at you. You have your shield, and it hits you. The camera pans, and it's like it's right behind you, and you're like sitting there, and you can like push and slowly walk back with the shield. It looks so cool and just cinematic. I love that they gave that unique animation to shield players. 10 out of 10. Recommend that game.
I tried to refund it, and it didn't work. I played it for like an hour and a half, and then I didn't play it for a really long. Like I just haven't played it because I haven't had the time. I've been playing other stuff, but also Rayu, I forgot to ask because we're still getting used to the new format. You've been explaining all these different games, and to save time, I'm not editing in the gameplay of all those games. What's the gameplay that you brought for us this episode?
We,
What's the
I
game you're
have been.
seeing on your screen if you're watching the video?
Don't worry, we'll edit it to like right at this point. It's like now you'll see the gameplay. Otherwise, this is going to be my face. No, the gameplay that you're seeing on the screen is Star Wars: The Old Republic. This is a game very near and dear to my heart. I think we're at 11 years now, almost 12 with this game being released. I can't remember the exact date, but I know it's 10 plus years. Star Wars: The Old Republic. I have spent, I want to say, north of 25, almost 3,000 hours, 2,500 to 3,000 hours on the game. Just playing the different storylines, the different DLCs, PvP, flashpoints. What you're seeing on your screen now is going to be some of the flashpoints that you can experience in the game once you hit level 80. You'll be able to go through, and each one of these flashpoints has bonus objectives. I try to do the bonus objectives as I can. When you open roll queue with public people, it's always very difficult because you don't want to hold them up if they're just trying to run through the flashpoints for their weekly stuff or what have you. If I can, I want to try and get the group of people that we have in the Unholy Muppets Guild. Yeah, we made a guild again. A-Track, so just like
Oh, snap.
Seaton subjugation again.
Oh my goodness. Taken up Saturdays since whenever it released. By the way, speaking of release date, December 20th, 2011. So the game will be 14 years old this year.
Wow, 14 years. Goodness gracious. Yeah, so it's a game that I have spent a lot of time in. But as I was saying, I want to try and get the group of people with me in these runs so that way we're able to go through and do some of these bonuses, because some of those bonuses do have unique bonus bosses. And a lot of people don't know that they're there because you just kind of think run through the objective. A lot of the people who are running through these things have done it after years and years and years of gameplay, so they don't want to do those bonus objectives. And I just think it's a really cool experience to do it. Plus, it does help you get experience. You get achievements for some of these things. You also get guild experience, conquest points, all that kind of stuff. So it is beneficial to take your time and do some of these bonus objectives. So that's the idea for that. But the real reason I kind of dove back into Star Wars: The Old Republic, not just because we passed May the 4th and the big Star Wars craze and everything with the double XP and all that, but because this is a game that I still have a lot of the game I haven't experienced. Large scale operations, hard mode operations, or I guess they're nightmare mode operations that I haven't experienced. Some of the master mode flashpoints. I really kind of focused heavily on the PvP side of the game when I played it the first couple thousand hours. And I don't want to say I regret it because I do appreciate what I got out of the PvP aspect of it. And it's something that I think no other MMO, at least none that I have played or heard about, has been able to do correctly in the PvP world, in the sense that there are individual stats for healers, there are individual stats for tanks. And those are some of the things that you're able to see and you get actively rewarded for, as opposed to just doing damage and getting kills. Plus objectives. If you're a very objective player, Hutball is a big thing. I'll try and grab some Hutball gameplay as well so we can put it in here. If you play Hutball and you want to get the ball and pass the ball and score the ball and do all that kind of stuff, you're going to be rewarded for doing that. So it's really cool how the PvP in Star Wars: The Old Republic actually rewards the different types of gameplay styles that can exist within that. So yeah, that is the gameplay that you're seeing from me, is good old Star Wars: The Old Republic. If you are on the Starforge server and are on the Republic side, did not go sit this time, went public.
Filthy Republic.
Hey, I've done enough on the Sith side. The Empire has had my service. It's time to go to the other side now. But
Yeah.
if you are on the Starforge server and if you are on the Republic side looking for a guild to join, just a casual place to hang out, meet some new folks, just Unholy Muppets, just look us up and we'll get you in there.
Star Wars: The Old Republic is a very historic game. I mean, it's where we met, Rayu. Star Wars: The Old Republic.
It is.
courtesy of Twitch streaming during COVID. That was a huge era. I stopped playing Star Wars The Old Republic when my Steam time hit 269 hours because I mean, I'd played through a lot, and the people that I did play with, I mean, obviously you have played on and off for a while, and Chimeri has played consistently, but a good majority of other people just kind of fell out, and I wasn't a huge PvPer, so I I got burnt out on doing all the story stuff. But every time I go back, there's a new story to do that I haven't done before. I think I got 4 out of the 8 done total. So a good amount, but there's still at least half left. And that's one thing that I really like about Star Wars The Old Republic. I highly recommend anybody out there check it out because it's free to like all the story, the base story is free to play. And so you can just hop in there and create a character and pick a trooper or a smuggler or a Sith or a Jedi or whatever you want to do and go through that story. There's a ton of different options. Really, really high quality game. It's dated because it of the graphics. Like the graphics are definitely, well, you can see on your screen there the gameplay. It's just they are dated, but it doesn't look awful. You know, you can make it look pretty good. They have done a lot to optimize it. I really wish we could get this exact game, like the exact game, just with Unreal Engine 5 graphics. That would be absolutely insane. But I understand that that is way too much work and a lot of money that EA probably wouldn't give for some reason.
It's not EA anymore.
Yeah.
EA is not tied to
But yeah,
the
that's right.
Republic.
It's
Broadsword.
Broadsword.
Yeah.
That's right. I
Which
forgot about that.
it's funny you mentioned that. Hanging out, I want to say last weekend. Yeah, last weekend when we were doing the double XP pushes, they one of the buddies that we play with, he and I were having a conversation about the transition from EA to Broadsword, and I was curious, so I went and I looked at the financials of Star Wars: The Old Republic since Broadsword has taken over the IP, and they have actually brought a profit every year since Broadsword has it.
Nice. That's what we
I
like to hear.
I was blown away. I did not think that was possible, but at least from what I read, year over year they have produced a profit.
I believe it because I imagine, and I don't actually know, but I imagine that Broadsword probably just makes their decision, like what they want to do internally, and sends it right away to Disney. Before, didn't BioWare have to make the decision, then send it to EA, then send it to Disney to get like all this approval time and stuff like that? Whereas
So.
now it's probably just Broadsword working directly with Disney. Again, I don't know. I'm just guessing that's how the channels would work. And
Yeah.
so hopefully that's how it's going because it's awesome to hear that it's gaining profit.
Oh yeah. And it's the funny thing is I think the gameplay has improved, and they always have their developer live streams they put on Twitch still. So those guys are still very much out in the open. They have started incorporating Twitch a lot more, like with Twitch drops. So like there was a purple mount. There's actually been a couple of purple mounts that you could get by viewing Twitch streams for in game. They also have like mini pets, decorations, all kinds of stuff that they've been giving back to the community, which is fantastic to see and is a lot more than EA was doing. So again, no hate to EA or whatever they decide to do. It's just this is a game that is very near and dear to my heart. I have seen it from conception to what it was before Broadsword took over, and then now Broadsword taking it over, and what they have been able to do with it is very different. So
You say no hate to EA, I say a respectable amount. Okay, we don't go overboard with it, but we'll write a strongly worded letter to EA saying, "Look, we need more higher quality Star Wars games. You're a
100%.
multi-million-dollar company, if not a bill. I don't know. Probably not $1 billion company. At the very least, like 100 million or more dollar company. You're flopping on every Star Wars game. Come on, hook it up. Actually, that's not true. Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order were solid, but
I still haven't played those
multiplayer,
games.
multiplayer Star Wars game. I'll
Yes,
specify.
I haven't played any of the Fallen
They're
Order
good.
or.
Dude, if you go from like Dark Souls or Elden Ring to Fallen Order or Survivor, those games feel so easy, even on Grandmaster difficulty. And I'm not saying that they are, especially Grandmaster difficulty, they are difficult, but the difficulty comparison, you just feel like you have an infinite parry window.
Mm.
It's so wonderful. But I understand that like I wouldn't hold those games to an Elden Ring or Dark Souls level. Like that's not what they're supposed to be, because they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. So I think that the difficulty level is actually appropriate. But I'm just saying, if you do end up playing one of those games, I think it was Sekiro that I came off of finishing and went over to Fallen Order. And even on Grandmaster difficulty, I felt like I had a really big parry window. But that's going from like one extreme to something that's supposed to appeal to a wider variety. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a difficult game, but that makes it a lot easier.
Well, it's funny you mention that because that same genre of the Dark Souls esque. I guess Dark Souls is its own genre now. We don't really
Yeah,
have
Souls like.
Souls
Yeah.
like. Yeah. The first Berserker Kazan, that game dropped during our little break, and I started playing that during the beta. I haven't bought the game yet, but during the beta, that was a fun game. Very fun game. I got a lot of play time in it. Finished the little beta portion of it that they let you go through. And Atrax, I think that is something you're going to like if you ever pick it
Yeah,
up.
I need to play it. I've seen a lot of people play it. Shout out to Rykans on Twitch. Good friend of mine, but yeah, watched him do a playthrough cuz he's really good at those games and the game looks sick, but I haven't made it there yet.
I know you'll get there. But what has kept you from playing those games? What have you been playing?
Man. Okay, so I will start off with the gameplay that you are seeing on screen. Return to the First Descendant. I'll have a little bit of gameplay from that and then another game that I'll mention later just because I know we've covered First Descendant a lot, but I have returned to it in the last month. Been playing a lot because I saw the advertisements and some YouTube videos that have popped up in my recommended that address all of the complaints and things that I didn't like about the game before. So now, after a couple of months off, there are a lot of new zones, there are a lot of new descendants to farm. I realized too that the more difficult hard mode bosses are relatively easy. You don't have to meet all of the prerequisites. A good majority of your strategy should be focused around high DPS, high health, and then just dodging all of the attacks and, being a good player, basically. Don't let the skill issue get to you. And they're not as difficult as I originally thought that they would be. I don't know if they've now toned down the like health or damage that they do, the overall difficulty, but if you just go into a public lobby and join a couple of other people on a hard mode boss, you can usually get it down within a good amount of time. I think there's only been 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks that we haven't completed them. And that's only because it was my first time. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I have a feeling that other people in my lobby were kind of the same. So that's been a lot of fun. There's quite a few new descendants to farm, and the way that you farm those descendants is in the new zones. They have special operation zones, and then there are also new void missions that you can do that are boss fights. I haven't gotten there yet. I have to complete all of the hard mode boss fights first. I'm about halfway through. that's what you're going to be seeing on the gameplay for First Descendant is a good majority of those void intercepts. And then also, I researched Ultimate Viesa. I got all of the parts. I found them all, and yeah, super happy about that. So you'll see that also in the gameplay. Ultimate Viesa trying to level her up. Got that last week. Super hype about that. And it's been a real enjoyable time returning to the First Descendant. I know in the past, and I still hold this opinion that Destiny 2 is a terrible game. And I really don't like Destiny. I understand that First Descendant has a lot of things that are like Destiny. There's a lot of things that are way better than Destiny. I see why Destiny 2 players don't migrate over to First Descendant because you're so invested. And it is what it is, but in my experience, First Descendant is just so much more fun and it costs way less to play. You don't have to mortgage your house to play First Descendant.
Now, hang on. I have to interject. Okay, we
Yeah.
talked about this before we started the recording. When we first covered the First Descendant, and I saw it pop up on my Steam window, Atrax is playing the First Descendant. And I was like, hang on. I need to go back to the episodes and hear this guy's opinion on this game because why is he going back to this game? He didn't grind it like we did. Like what and the fact that you got your ultimate Viesa, it's like it's a proud papa moment right here. I'm so happy and proud that you got it, and oh my goodness, I love hearing that you enjoy the game. Your enthusiasm about the game is like infectious right now because I have been wanting to go back
Mm-hmm.
and play it, but it's one of those again, and I'll cover it again later. It's one of those games that I feel like you need to have the people with you when you play it, and it just makes it so much more enjoyable. But I am proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. I would agree. Well, and they've also, especially since we last played, they've added so many great quality of life improvements that I really appreciate. It makes it a lot easier to get what you specifically want. So now, if you are running a mission that gives you, let's say it's a 20% chance for this specific material to drop, you can now track that material. And as you repeat missions, it will fill up a progress bar. It's slower. You have to repeat the mission like 6 or 7 times. I think it's based on the percentage. But after you repeat that mission a certain amount of times, it will give you that material. So you can actually farm these things instead of it feeling completely random. At the very least, you can track them, which also helps you understand how many you've gotten. But it helps you track them and so many other quality of life improvements that they've added that it makes me so happy to play First Descendant again. I've really, really enjoyed it. And then I'm good.
Well, I was gonna say I'm very happy that they have made those changes so that way it does appeal a little bit more to the not as grind heavy audience. As somebody who has not and I still will not, if I ever go back to it, I have not bought a single thing, no weapon, no descendant, no nothing, and I still won't. As somebody who had originally grinded those things without the progress meter like you're talking about, but just random drops, grinding it out, I feel like I'm conflicted with this progress bar now because it's like, oh, that's a really great thing. I'm glad they introduced it. I spent so much time trying to get these things. Where
Yeah.
is my compensation for that?
Well, dude, I bet if you log in, you have so many different rewards. Okay. Oh man, this is
I
really
had
going to
everything.
reel you in.
I
They
had
have
everything
they've
before Ultimate Freyna was dropped. I had everything.
they've added events that give you like after it. It's a bit, but they give you descendant slots. So I'm up to 14 now. I have 14 descendant slots, and the current event has been giving me one equipment slot a day for playing for an hour. So dude, they're actually they've amped it up, and the free battle pass actually gives you some good stuff. They added, so you know how we were concerned back in the day about battle pass guns disappearing.
Yes.
Well, now, so here's the system how they solve that. They have one of the guys sells the blueprints, but the way you get them is called support tokens. You join infiltration missions. It's a random infiltration mission. It gives you some crafting materials, and it gives you what are called support coins. And those support coins you can then use to trade in for the specific blueprints and materials that you need in order. I mean, it's still a grind, but there is actually a way in order to get the battle pass items after it. You have to wait until the season is over. So it's not like the current battle pass item, but like previous season's battle. So the Excava and Sigvor's proof, you can get those materials in one of the traders for those support coins.
Again, super happy that they brought that in, and I'm even happier that they made it to where you have to help the community. You have to go into a support thing. 100% love that. Again, as someone who has gone from the hardcore grind to this, it's like, man, what happened?
Well, because it was a steep grind, dude. Like, even I played a ton. Like, I played more than what the average player would play, and I couldn't get like
You did.
I'm guaranteed you were in like the top 0.5% of players at the time. I'm confident with how much you played and all the stuff you got. Like, for someone who didn't buy anything other than the battle pass. Obviously there are people that could just buy all the descendants and like, you know, spend money for all the crafting materials and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like legit grinding. I'm sure you were in at the very least 1%, if not 0.5% of players. Or you are an MMO fiend, my guy. You know, you are not the average player.
Not at all.
At least MMO player, not the average MMO player. Other games you're more average at, but not the average MMO player. That's for sure.
There are so many things that were so hard to get, and it just handed them to you guys. Like, oh man, if you wanted Eugen, forget it. You had to work your tail to get Eugen. Like, now they're just handing them to you.
The other thing though is that there's a ton more stuff. So if it took that long, new players would literally never catch up. They have to give away to like kind of catch up. You know what I mean? They did need to expedite the grind a little bit
Again
for the more stuff they add. Because you
now
have
Warframe. It's not like there is no catch up in Warframe. There is, you figure it out.
Well, there's no catch up in Destiny or TFD either. I don't think anyone could catch up with. Like, if you started now and you spent a good amount of time, I'm sure that you're probably still ahead of me, to be honest. Like,
I mean, I'll sign in. I'll take a look at it after the show.
Like, we'll figure it out. You mentioned stats in the intro. We're gonna compare. It's happening.
Yeah, it should
but
be.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a lot more. But that's the thing. They've added like 4 or 5 more weapons. There's at the very least 4 descendants since I played. There's Serena. There's Clive. How do you? I don't know. I forget his name. And there's a couple more. We got Ultimate Blair now, and they added. They're called Fellows. They added 2 dog companions that you can farm for now.
I have
That's
been on
super
since that
cool to
came
see.
out. Yeah, I have been on since that came out, and I was excited to see the Fellows. That's a really cool feature.
And then they added 2 zones, easy or normal and hard mode, that are random. They added void invasions, something like that.
Now,
that
if I remember,
rotate on the different maps. And then on top of that, you have the void intercept battles, which are like super difficult random bosses. At least I think it's a random boss.
If I remember, the void portion came out about the same time the companions came out, because in my process of trying to get one of I still don't have the companions. I got to the point I was like at a hard void mission or something, and I think that was the last one I needed to do to be able to get my companion, but I didn't read too much into it. Like I said, ever since everybody kind of fell off, I didn't really invest much time in it. But Yeah, I think that was about the same time. I have seen the new Descendants that are coming out, and if I remember correctly, they had a panel at PAX, and because I still follow the Twitter
Mm-hmm.
or the X, and I'm still in their Discord, they're introducing motorcycles.
Yeah, I think so. The big thing that I've been excited for is they're doing a community skin challenge.
Ooh, that's
And so the winners are going to be in the game. So we're going to get some like legit crowd-sourced cool skins in the game. I mean, they're
man,
probably going to be an insane amount of money, but
man.
that's
And
okay.
I just started playing SWTOR and about to drag me back into this.
No, keep playing SWTOR. 100%. Just play TFD on the side a little bit. We got to keep the variety up, you know? There's
Yeah.
got to be the little back and forth. See what happens is I'll play a bunch and then I'll start slowly drifting out and then you'll get back into it cuz you'll be like, "Oh yeah, Atrax said."
You know what? Let's just go revisit Throne of Liberty. Let's just go back into that.
No. 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 Never.
It's
Never
funny.
go back.
I started having a conversation about that again last time. I was like, what if we would just revisited that?
No. Absolutely not. I will never again. But yeah, no, that's just no. A couple other games that I have been playing. So we've been talking a lot about First Descendant, but a couple other games that I have been playing. RuneScape Dragon Wilds, like you mentioned, I was tied into it because of the RuneScape aspect. I could really care less about these like fort building survival games. There's a lot of them and they're kind of all the same. I mean, obviously there are differences between them, but I end up just running around cutting down a bunch of trees and farming a bunch of resources to fuel whatever base my friends are building because while it is cool to build a base, I think there are other games that are more fun to do that in. You know, you could play like Minecraft or something like that. But that's just my personal opinion. Those games, like MMOs for you, Rayu, are very much about the group. If there's a big group that's constantly playing and we get to like, oh, okay, let's go do this, let's go do that. I really enjoy those games. Other than that, not so much. This one, however, I have enjoyed playing by myself, just running around. I think it's solely because it's RuneScape themed, but even so, the skill trees are really cool. I like how you can just scroll through and see what you're getting. Some people may not like the linear skill trees so much. I really enjoy it in a game like this. I got stuck a couple of times and had to Google a few things like how do I get a bow so that I can shoot a deer because I can't make one at the crafting station. Like I've checked all these different crafting tables. How do I make one? I had to do some Googling there, but even so, it's been a lot of fun stuff. And then Disney Epic Mickey, it was a game that we mentioned in the season 2 finale, and I did play it a good amount. It has been a lot of fun. It's tied into another gaming related passion that I've started up in the last few months. I did mention it actually in a few episodes last season. So I think the TCG card shop simulator and of course the season 2 finale, but Disney Epic Mickey has been a lot of fun. I will be finishing that hopefully soon. And those are kind of the quote unquote other games that I've been playing. The few like spend a couple hours here and there with some friends or maybe on the weekend when I'm not playing First Descendant. But the other big game that I have gotten into is Escape from Tarkov. This game, it went on sale. Sadly, I just missed the sale, but one of my friends really is been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it too. I prefer the PvE mode, especially because Tarkov has an insane amount of cheaters. I've run into a few in the PvP mode already, and it's just honestly not fun. Like, it's straight up not fun how much it happens. I know in those games they're incredibly brutal and require a lot of hours to learn. I would rather learn in a PvE mode environment where I'm not constantly stressed about getting one tapped from across the map from some guy with a sniper rifle. You know what I mean? Like, it's just PvE mode makes it so much more enjoyable to learn, and that's also the second game that I have for gameplay for this episode. is Escape from Tarkov. You'll see me just running around and trying to shoot stuff and find different loots, what I need for upgrading the um oh, what's it called? Your not your storehouse, your safe house. Your safe house. I enjoy that type where it's a little bit more chill, just run into a raid, try and see if I can find what I need. The NPCs in this game are pretty solid. Like maybe when you gain a lot of game knowledge, they're a lot easier, but especially at first when you're learning the run mechanics, when you're trying to remember food or get out quickly before your food and hydration go down, all these things to keep track of, even for me who is relatively experienced with a lot of these types of games, it's really overwhelming. I'm happy that they made the PvE mode now $20. It's a $20 add-on. Originally, when it released, PvE was locked behind the $250 version of the game. That was the only version that came with PvE. So after a lot of complaining, I imagine, and a lot of people saying we would pay money for it, but it's too expensive, they have made it a $20 add-on. So the base game is $50 if you get like the minimal edition, and then another 20 for the add-on, so 70 total. The amount of time that you can sink into the game, $70, is definitely not that steep of a price. I would argue for what the game is, it's back and forth. Is it worth 70? Is it not? I think if you really get sucked into the game, obviously it's worth it because there's thousands of hours to play. I'm really enjoying it. I think my money is well spent, but other people maybe not so much. Maybe they want something like Gray Zone Warfare or Incursion Red River, which is cheaper. I think those games are more around like $20, $30, $40, especially just for an extraction shooter when you could play like Warzone for free, some other stuff. But Tarkov is a very high quality game. It's just I'm really not a PvPer. I'm probably gonna get laughed at for it. Like, how are you playing Tarkov and you only play PvE mode? But I actually do enjoy it. Like, the maps are different. You can pull up a virtual map on. I pull it up on my web browser, and I have it on my second monitor. And it's just a lot of fun. Run around the map, look for what you need, the loot, all of the different areas that you can go to, all of the different quests that you have from the traders, or I guess they're called tasks. All of the different tasks that you have from the traders. It's a lot of fun to really get invested in, and maybe when I get good enough at the game, I'll feel confident going into PvP, but it's not my jam. I do play PvP mode with my friends, but other than that, it's just, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't play PvP solo. That's really not the way to go. And PvE just in general, like I'd rather play PvE with my friends so we could just run in there and chill and fight bots and loot stuff, but I understand that a general majority of Tarkov players probably consider the PvP mode clearly superior, even though they're the exact same thing. It's just one's against bots and the other one is against people. It's, I don't know, like it's not a competitive game, or maybe it is. I don't know. Does the Ray, you weigh in on this? Like, what's your vibe? Are you a PvE extraction shooter, or are you a PvP extraction shooter player? I mean, I think I know you're a PvP player, but what are
Well,
your thoughts here?
so I enjoy PvP as much as the next guy, but for me, my experience with extraction shooters kind of came from the Division, and that's where I
Mm.
first started extraction shooters. I didn't play PUBG or anything like that. I played the original Division, and it was a PvP or PvE extraction shooter, and I never really went into the PvP side of it, just because at that point when that game came out, I was really hesitant on it. I didn't understand it. I didn't really like the whole third person over the shoulder shooting. I had played first person shooters for the longest time, so it was just something new. But for extraction shooters, I'm leaning more and more heavily towards the PvE stuff, just because there's such a heavy discrepancy in time invested in the game for PvP because all of your gear transfers. So if you have someone who's invested a lot of time, they have a lot of really good gear, and you're just going into PvP for the first time and you get killed by them, kind of ruins your experience. Now, again, I don't have much experience with it. Don't know if there's limitations or balancing or anything like that, but I prefer the PvE extraction stuff, like the Division, Division 2, apparently Tarkov, stuff like that is more fun. And if you could scale that difficulty up to where it gets more and more challenging, then is when you really start to enjoy that PvE side of it. But still, again, it's more fun with friends.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's really where I started playing Tarkov, is because of my friends. And I do enjoy, like, I've watched a lot of people play Tarkov, and it is a cool game. Like, there's a lot of depth to it, and completing challenges feels good. But I don't know, maybe to some people, completing challenges in a PvE environment just doesn't feel rewarding at all, because it's like, oh, okay, well, like I didn't do it in an arena full of players. It was just bots, and I was just kind of wandering around. But that's kind of video games in general. The You're just roaming around, just trying to have fun. I They're the exact same game. They're the exact same game. PvE and PvP mode. They're the exact same game. One's just against bots, one's against players. And they're the same tasks. They grant the same rewards. So, I don't know. I understand, but I also don't understand why people hate and look down so much on PvE players. Also, some other fun PvE extraction shooters. I already mentioned Gray Zone Warfare. Outlawed is a lot of fun. Outlawed is an absolute blast to play if you haven't already checked it out. It's relatively cheap, and it has a little bit more cartoony, fun style to it. A lot more, like, I would almost even say Borderlands-y feel to it, because some of the outrageous things that you can loot, all of that fun stuff. So be sure to check out Outlawed as well.
Got another one.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot about it until you mentioned your last game, Shatterline. Shatterline is a free-to-play PvP, PvE game. It's an arena shooter if you want to get into PvP, similar like Call of Duty. But think more like Black Ops 2, because the individual characters have like hero-esque power-up type thing. Anyway, but it's also an extraction shooter. You could go into the PvE mode, and you're going in and you're fighting those creatures, and then you have to extract with the resources and stuff that you have, and then with those resources you can improve your guns, improve your character, other stuff like that. And there are specific roles. So there are characters that are more tanky, there are healers, there are crowd controls. It is a really, really fun game. I played it for 23 hours on Steam. And I've enjoyed it by myself. I enjoyed it with the random people I would get into. It was such a fun game and good experience. Unfortunately, at the time, that's also when, like, I think the new Call of Duty came out, so I kind of ended up going that direction. But
after a quick Google, I don't think you can play it anymore.
What?
Unless it released.
No, it says it's no longer available on the Steam store. What happened?
Was it on Epic Games?
Is it on Epic Games?
All this stuff that I see is like that it's closed down.
No.
No, wait, now you can play it though. We've moved to Epic Games.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I
there
see.
You go. Go to Epic Games.
Shatterline is live. Sorry, everyone. Everything I saw says that Steam shut down, but that's not true.
Go play it on Epic Games. Fun game. Again, if you like the arena shooters like Call of Duty, and again, gearing more towards Black Ops 2 with the hero power-ups and things like that, it has that feature for you. But if you want the PvE going in, and they do scale the difficulty, you can make these things really, really hard to fight. And I promise you, it gets very, very hard to fight. If you're not coordinated and know what you're looking for, you will die very quickly. So Atrax is another one for you.
Yeah, Shatterline. Okay, I'm also going to shout out to Shatterline, the people who made this, because when they switched to Steam, they say you get an exclusive migration pack, which gives you like a ton of different cool stuff. But I love this. This shows you that they must have had enough players to like give this out. It says, additionally, players with 1,000+ hours of gameplay receive premium founders packs. So, like, shout out to all those people who had 1,000+ hours of gameplay before they migrated to Steam, because you're getting a premium founders pack on Epic Games. That's sick. That was back in December 5th, 2024.
Like
Yeah,
that's just a
that's sick.
service to their community at that point. Like
Yeah.
that's insane.
Hey, you've played 1,000+ hours of our game. Congratulations. Free premium founders pack. Enjoy it.
So again, if you need extraction shooters, go for that one. Heck, I might put that on my Epic account just so I can play it again. It was fun.
Well, I mean, if you had it on Steam, I'd quickly migrate if you still can. I don't know if you still can. Maybe you can.
Try.
We'll have to find out. Tune in to the next episode. No, we'll definitely forget about that by then. Never mind.
I won't.
I'm kidding.
I promise you, I'm not gonna forget about the game. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
You'll have to write it for the notes for next episode or something. One last thing though, in my all this gaming here at the Variety Gaming Podcast, we don't just do video gaming. Yes, it's true that is a big majority of the games that we play, but starting in last December, I started getting into trading cards. Not like sports cards, but specifically games. Pokemon first, Lorcana next, and now I'm sad to say, well, not really that sad because I'm excited about it. I started collecting a Magic the Gathering set. Just one. I said I would never do it, but I did, and because I'm just having so much fun collecting sets of cards with really cool art. I have completed a Pokemon Obsidian Flames Korean set. I finished it literally yesterday. I ripped the last pack that I bought, and it had the card that I needed. And so super hype about that. I don't have a master set yet. I need like 8 more secret cards, but I'll just swoop those as singles. And yeah, so I have my first complete set for Pokemon. My English Obsidian Flames is almost done. Lorcana, I have a ton of Lorcana packs to open, which I'm also excited about. Reign of Jafar comes out at the end of this month, which I have got a box for, so a lot of pack openings. I'm probably going to figure out a way to maybe record some of the pack openings and put them on display for all of you, but don't hold me to that. It's just a maybe thing. But I have done an insane amount of trading card game purchasing. It has been a ton of fun. Lorcana, I'm almost done with set 5, which is Shimmering Skies. Yeah, Shimmering Skies. And I've collected a good amount of Arcasia's Island cards as well. I have a good amount of Azurite Sea packs to open, but I haven't done that quite yet. And like I mentioned, I finally made it into the Magic the Gathering collecting. So the set I have chosen is Bloomburrow. Final Fantasy is coming out soon, and there's a huge amount of hype about that. That's actually what got me into looking at the Magic the Gathering art. And when I first started collecting cards, I told myself, like, I'm not gonna get into it. Don't do it. But then I saw just a couple of weeks ago, I saw art for the Bloomburrow set, and it reminded me of a book series I used to read when I was a kid called Redwall, about like this abbey of little mice, and it was kind of medieval times, and just really good books. If you haven't read them, maybe as an adult they don't hold up super well. They are good books, but not nearly as much as a kid. If you have a kid who's in like late grade school, early middle school, probably that's like the reading level that you could start having them read at Redwall books at, because they are a little bit more for like young teenagers, I guess you could say. That's like the writing style. It's a little bit more simplistic, but it's not total kids book. You could read them as an adult. Highly recommend Redwall. But yeah, read a ton of those books as a kid, and then I saw the Bloomburrow Magic the Gathering set, and I saw a lot of the art, and the art looks super cool, and it's like animal themed. You've got mice, you've got rabbits, you've got frogs, you've got like all these different kind of animals, and it's super cool. A lot of really fun different types of cards too, where you have like what was it called? I forget what the name of the card is, but it's like the art is a rabbit attacking a rat with a stalk of like leeks, and it's like a giant stalk. And so it's just fun little art cards like that, and really, really cool. Lots of fun to collect. I don't really play a whole lot of card games. I do play Lorcana when I can. I've been super busy, so I haven't been able to make the league nights like I used to. But I do enjoy playing some of them. I can't make any of the Pokemon nights. I keep telling myself it's probably going to happen, but I keep telling myself I'm not going to get invested in playing Magic the Gathering. I'm just collecting the one set, and that's it to say that I did. But either way, having a lot of fun with Lorcana, having a lot of fun collecting the Pokemon, despite the market being absolute garbage right now. And Bloomborough for Magic the Gathering has been a lot of fun to get into as well. Opening packs, buying singles. I do a healthy mix of both. And it's just been a lot of fun collecting gaming cards. Rayu, because I think you said what? Your family collects Lorcana, right?
We do. We have made it a habit of every time we're out as a family, we stop at one of the local card shops and grab a pack and open them together. So it's been a lot of fun. I am. I actually I got the starter set recently. That one that our good buddy Frozen Cheddar let us know about, the one that covers like the starter packs and the actual like instruction guide and how to play it and all that kind of stuff. So I got that, and the wife and I started playing it semi regularly. I think about every weekend we try and get at least one or two games in, and it's so interesting at how lopsided the starter decks are. I say that because we played, and I had one, and I think I had Stitch, and she had Medusa. Yeah, I was playing a Stitch deck. She was playing the Medusa deck that you get at the starters. Not Medusa, I'm sorry, Maleficent. And so we're playing them, and I was always losing and losing. And she's like, I'm not that good at the game, am I? I'm like, maybe. Like, I don't. So she said, well, let me try with your deck. And then she started losing and losing and losing. And I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense. The decks are kind of lopsided one way or the other right now.
I think I know the deck you're talking about. It's like Snow White Maleficent. It has a bunch of dwarves in it.
Huh?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a very beginner friendly deck. That's that's the deck my grandma uses, and she beats me like almost every time.
Yeah.
I can
It,
get close, but it's a really good starter deck.
it
Go
is.
wide.
So, but yeah, no, we collect the cards, and it's been a fun little family thing. My little daughter loves it every time we pull a Mickey card or a mini card or just anybody in that world. She gets so excited about, because she loves her Disney Junior. So anything with
Yeah.
Mickey and the crew, she's happy.
Mickey there's a really cool Oswald card from, I think it's set 1 or set 2, that I've been trying to find that I can buy a single for, because there's no way that I'm going to open it in a pack, at least like to get the value out of it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it'd be fun too, but those packs, the first 2 set packs, are really hard to find. They're kind of expensive. I guess set 2 not so much, but first chapter sets or packs are really hard to find.
Yeah.
But it's been, dude, maybe we'll do like Lorcana one day. And you and I'll just play. We'll sit here with our,
Hey,
with our
I am all
webcams
for
and
that,
play.
man. That'd be a great time.
That'd be good. Good times. Especially with Reign of Jafar coming in. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be excited. We'll definitely be covering that.
Yeah.
Well, those are the featured games. That's kind of what I've been playing, Rayu, what you've been playing. But let's move on now to our genre of the season. We touched on it a little bit. We've been talking for a while, but it wouldn't be a variety gaming podcast without our seasonal segment. What's the genre?
MMORPG.
Woohoo! So
Yeah.
even though we're not doing game of the season anymore, we still wanted to commit to World of Warcraft a little bit. Not like hard. This is a game that we'll be playing the entire time, but MMOs still kind of in that same field. I'll be talking about WoW for a little bit. I played War Within, not a whole lot since we announced World of War, since season 2, since we said World of Warcraft would be game of the season. I did play some. I know we said we'd be focusing on classics, so that's a majority of where I spent my time. But I did play a little bit of War Within, and it was fun. I actually really like the cosmetics in retail WoW. I think they are really, really cool, especially some of them. I know they're expensive and it's a cash grab and all that stuff, but you have to admit that some of the cosmetics are really cool. And I log in for my trader's tender. I buy mounts or something and then I log out. I have done a couple of world quests, but I lost steam for War Within. I might make a new character on retail when the next expansion comes out. We'll see what happens. What I'm really excited for is Mists of Pandaria. A lot of people didn't like that expansion. That's okay. I enjoyed Cataclysm. I'm excited for Mists of Pandaria. My solo progress has mostly been in Cataclysm. I have done some Anniversary, which has been fun, but I'm not going to lie, the PvP server that we chose really got to me. And I mean, I know that is kind of my choice to join the other group that was playing on the PvP server. I should have just, I'll be honest, I should have just gone to the PvE server. I don't know why, but I played for a while. I got to like level 30 and I just, maybe I'm too sensitive. I don't know. I couldn't handle constantly getting ganked every time I tried to do something. And it's just, yes, I can run through and all that, but in a game that's as solved as World of Warcraft, I just wanted something to chillax with while maybe like later on in the night when I'm kind of winding down from something like TFD or Escape from Tarkov. It's nice to play just some WoW leveling, you know? So I've been doing some PvE servers by myself to just kind of chillax and enjoy the gaming. And yeah, played a little bit of WoW, but not a ton, maybe 10 or so hours. I do have my subscription still going, but I haven't played it nearly as much as I have in the past or as some of the other games that I mentioned. But Rayu, what about you with MMOs? You already said SWOTOR, so I mean, you know, we it's kind of beating a dead horse, if you will, but
It really
tell
is.
us about your MMOs. What are you playing for the season?
Well, so before I dive back into SWTOR, still with World of Warcraft, I did make some more progress on the Hunter just to try and stay committed to the game. It again, it is a fun game, and the PvP PvE side of it, there's just always two sides of that thing. And I know you don't like PvP. I don't care for it, one way or the other. But it needs at least one or two other people with you to make it fun, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
whole idea behind MMOs, is that it's not made to be a you play by yourself type of thing. And of course you can, put forth the effort and join a guild and try and make friends and do all of those things, and that'll probably change your experience with it. For me, it's very hard when you have those circle of friends that you have been playing games with on a consistent basis for so long, that you try to get into an MMO and nobody else is really interested in it. They don't really like it. They're, topsy turvy with it. And then you fall out of it because, we're comfortable with who we know. We know our people. We do it that way. So eventually I did decide to drop the subscription for WoW and switch it to Star Wars: The Old Republic just so I could get back on that fun grind with everybody again. And now after our TFD talk, I'm going to be jumping back into that. Lots of MMOs. Golly,
Yeah,
man.
it is an MMO technically, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then maybe Shatterline, no, it's an extraction shooter, but it has roles. I don't know. I don't know what makes an MMO anymore. Anyway, there's a lot of games now. But no, definitely Star Wars: The Old Republic is going to be the main focal point. And I 100% agree with you in having those games that you can sit back and relax to just kind of have some good times with. For me, that is going to be Star Wars: The Old Republic. But it can go both ways. If I do decide to jump back into the PvP on the heavy side, I'll need an alternative game to wind down with, and I don't think TFD will do that for me. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Yeah, no, I think the most fun I've had in Star Wars: The Old Republic was actually this past weekend. We with double XP still going and making brand new characters on the Republic side because I've never played Republic side outside of just getting the 4 classes, just so that way I had or getting those 4 stories, so I have the legendary status as a player. But really enjoying the Republic side this time. Made a trooper, and myself and 2 other buddies were like, "Yo, it's double XP. Let's just go ahead. Let's push to 80." And we did every single planetary heroic mission, daily area missions, solely for the purpose of pushing to level 80 on these characters. And I think I was up to like 4 a.m. one day. And I was like, man, I haven't had one of these long gaming sessions in a long time, but this was fun and it's enjoyable. So hopefully that's the thing that happens. Not necessarily staying up that late again, but having those good times in an MMO. First clearing a boss, somebody getting like actually, we have been able to bring one of my longtime friends, Turtle, into Star Wars: The Old Republic. He's been enjoying it, and he subscribed because he was having such a good time with it. So, and he brought his girlfriend into it. So it's like slowly we're showing other people who enjoy Star Wars to some level and who enjoy playing video games that, hey, this is a world that kind of encompasses both. And we're letting them play at their own pace. When you're talking about somebody who's played on and off for the better part of almost 14 years with this one game, I've done everything. I've seen everything. I've played everything, aside from the ones that I mentioned with Nightmare Mode Ops and all that kind of stuff. But as far as from getting from low level to max level, I've done it all. I've seen it all. I've played the story. Letting them enjoy it at their own pace has been a really enjoyable experience to like sit back and watch because they haven't done it. And you're like, it's like Christmas morning when you're watching somebody immerse themselves in a game that you have played for so long and they're like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." It's like, man, you can't replace that feeling. And as soon as they dive into it and they're so enthralled with the game that they're playing it on their own. Like even when we're not in a Discord call, everybody hanging out doing their own thing, they're playing it by themselves because they want to experience the story. It's so awesome. And I love it. And I'm so excited that they have decided to dive into Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm glad I decided to revisit the game. And I can't wait to see how my feelings about this game now that I'm revisiting it this late in life are going to change by the end of season 3. If I'm still playing SWTOR or if I've shifted to something else. So this is going to be exciting.
It certainly is. And I mean, be sure to tune in. So hit that subscribe button or follow. Add the show to your favorites. Whatever it is on Apple, I don't even know. Spotify, YouTube, Apple. Go follow on all of the platforms so you don't miss a single episode. You don't miss hearing Rayu talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic. You miss hearing me talk about First Descendant, Escape from Tarkov, RuneScape Dragon Wild Schedule 1, Disney Epic Mickey, Last Epoch, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, Marvel Rivals, Smite 2, Monster Hunter Wild, Path of Exiles 2, First Berserker, Kazan. Those are all the games that we've mentioned in just this episode. And World of Warcraft. So be sure to follow the Variety Gaming Podcast for all of your variety gaming needs. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. We will see you next time.